Okay, so I think the bigger iPhone actually might be a bit too big.
Man up, pull out your phone. I've been training for 50 years and I've never seen this kind of behavior before. When the world is going smaller, the iPhones are going bigger. Are we going to go back to the smaller iPhones? Sir, no, sir. Then move, move, move.
Are you struggling with decision fatigue between the iPhone 16 Pro or Pro Max? Do you sacrifice the one-handed, easily pocketable portability, cheaper option Pro for the more immersive screen with longer lasting battery life of the Pro Max? It's a tough decision, but luckily I'm dumb enough to throw money at my problems, and all you gotta do is subscribe to my channel and check out my videos for all your answers. Let's get into it. Firstly, it's good to know that this year there's pretty much no differences, and that's what makes this year different than prior year and also somewhat special. The thing is, you're not compromising on much by going with the Pro this year. Last year we had those camera related differences which honestly kind of sucked, and to be honest, it was one of the main reasons I actually ended up just going with the Pro Max last year. But this year, the only two differences are the screen size and the battery life, and that makes this a much tougher proposition to discuss. Let's dissect this a little bit more. So firstly, screen size. This year, again, is a little bit different because Apple has actually increased their screen sizes even more. Now, Apple did this not only by shrinking the bezels, but by actually making the phones slightly bigger. Yeah, even the Pro Max, which in my case, coming from the 15 Pro Max, I could actually tell a difference right away. But when I actually put these phones together side by side, the difference seems a little less obvious. And in terms of phone sizes, you can tell that there's a slight difference here. Now, although the size difference does not seem too big at first look, I will say in actual usage, it's actually noticeable. So the argument for me personally this year has been in favor of the Pro over the Pro Max, because you have a slightly bigger screen this year and a much more palatable size phone, giving you even more of an incentive to stay within your comfort zone. Now look, I will say, having that Super Retina XDR ProMotion 120Hz vibrant, bright, rich, pixel-rich screen makes a Pro Max with a larger screen a very nice to have. Like, I can't tell you how amazing it feels to have this good of a screen in the palm of your hands. Everything is super crisp, it's vibrant, it just hits different. You get much more room for activities. Everything just seems larger than life, and having that bigger screen real estate allows for your content and viewing experience to be that much bigger and better. Instagram posts look much larger. Portrait photos and reels are nice and large. YouTube videos fill the entire screen a lot better. Things just look more true to life. It's just an overall better viewing experience. I mean, that's kind of a given when you're getting a bigger screen here. Okay, next let's talk about one-handed usage. So here's the thing, this is quite subjective because if you have big hands, then the Pro Max might be fine for you, but unfortunately for me and majority of the people out there, that's the issue. We all have kind of basic hand sizes, and the Pro Max is probably just gonna be too big for one-handed usage, which makes this device technically a two-handed device. At that point, does a phone become just too cumbersome to use? If all that usage leads to carpal tunnel syndrome, then is it even worth it? No. No, it's not. So I think for most people, honestly, the Pro is the perfect size. So even just holding the phone regularly like this, look, if I want to go to the other side, I can't, like, I have to basically resituate my hands at the back from here to like here in order to get to the other side. So that's kind of annoying. So if I want to see my notifications, I gotta scooch twice and get up to the top here. Not cool. Versus with the Pro here, I have no issues going to the side. I don't really need to resituate my hand to go to the side. If I want to go to the top, it's just one quick shift and boom. Overall, a much easier experience. Next, let's talk about the typing experience. Now, when you're using the Pro Max for regular tasks, I can't lie, it does get unwieldy, especially if you're not used to that size of a phone before. When you're typing, firstly, you have to type with two hands, and even then the phone is quite large. You need to be able to support it with your pinky. And the pinky is probably taking the biggest hit after your wallet. In fact, I think my pinky is actually warped over the last couple of years. Like, look at that indentation over there. Like, it's literally like a slope here where it goes up to my regular bone. Like, do me a favor, take a look at your pinkies right now and tell me if you see the same warping, or am I just crazy here? The Pro, on the other hand, you don't need that bottom support. The typing experience is much easier, and if you do need that pinky finger, then it doesn't feel like you're supporting the weight of the entire Lord of the Rings Extended Edition box set. So yeah, the Pro definitely takes the cake here on typing experience. Now, another thing to note, these iPhones, they're slippery. So having the extra weight does not help at all. Not to mention Apple no longer having their leather cases. That's more disappointing than Danny Ricciardo's F1 career.
Sweat.
So to help with this, I actually found the best alternative to the Apple leather cases, who, by the way, are sponsoring this segment of the video. This is the Moft Movas leather case, and I absolutely love this thing. The leather is soft, it feels great in your hands without adding too much bulk. The attention to details with the metal buttons, very reminiscent of Apple leather cases, a raised lip for better protection, and a super soft microfiber lining to treat your phone better than John Wick dogs. But my favorite accessory this year that goes with this case is the Moft Snap Invisible iPhone Tripod Wallet. So last year Moft had basically released this tripod, and it was the coolest accessory that I had seen for my iPhone. But my main gripe with it was I had to choose between their wallet or their tripod. This year, it's a different story. You can now store up to 2 cards in this thing, along with NFC tap and go compatibility. And if you have not seen what this can do, prepare for your mind to be blown. This is a sleek and compact accessory for your iPhone that's a wallet, a stand, and a tripod all in one. Like the case, it's also made of this soft Movas leather material, and it feels great in your hands. And whether you use the Pro or the Pro Max, I actually find it makes it easier to grip the phone overall. The hinge on this is also very well designed. You can literally use this to vlog if you wanted to. And my absolute favorite thing is the tripod mode. I can not only use this to help me set up and get shots while I'm on the go in a pinch, but it's also fantastic for elevating your phone to eye level in order to watch content or browse or take video calls and stuff like that. The floating mode on this is super versatile, and I can use this in portrait, landscape, and all sorts of different angles for different tasks. And the best part, when you're done using it, it folds up super compact and doesn't take up much space in your pocket. If you're interested in this really cool accessory or this case, I'll have them both linked in the description down below. I highly recommend these. Next, let's talk about the weight and feel of these two devices, because honestly, in my opinion, it's one of the biggest pain points here with the Pro Max. Quite literally, you can get pain from actually holding this phone because of the weight and feel. I'm not even kidding you. I kind of got used to it over the years because usually I ended up sticking with the Pro Max for the extra camera features or whatever. But this year, after the phone got even slightly bigger, literally the day after filming a day in the life with the Pro Max, my palm and joints were in pain. When I switched back to the Pro, my goodness, it felt so much better. On top of that, even though the phone is curved on the edges, it still kind of digs into your hand. And as a result, you either have to strain your joints and hand muscles to support it, or you sacrifice your pinky. One of your body parts has got to go. And I know the size increase this year is somewhat minor compared to the last year, but for some reason, the 15 Pro Max did seem a little bit easier for me to use. And that slight increase in size has actually resulted in a worse of an experience in terms of weight and feel and usability. I don't know. Next up, pocketability. Believe it or not, this is actually an important metric. Different clothing has different types of pockets, and some are tight, some are loose, some are shallow, some are deep. So based on what clothing you generally tend to wear, you can probably make a decision on this. If you're a back pocketer or your pockets are tight, then the max can actually be a bit too big sometimes, and it even may restrict your movement. And if your pockets are too loose, I've had it sometimes turn even sideways, and it can get pretty annoying. So pocketability standpoint, the Pro is definitely better here. It's smaller, lighter, cleaner in your pocket, not to mention for ladies who carry it in their purses or guys who use things like slings and stuff, the Pro will be much more of an acceptable device to carry there. Okay, next up, battery life. Now this is a huge reason why people generally tend to go after the Pro Max over the Pro. And look, it is what it is. Compared to the Pro Max is just going to be that much better for battery life, and this year is no different. As the phone is bigger, Apple is able to fit a bigger battery into the chassis, allowing for the Pro Max to have nearly 20 to 30% more battery life compared to the Pro. Now this makes this phone really tempting, especially if you're a heavy user or you find yourself out and about quite often or traveling quite often, and that sense of relief knowing that you can squeeze out those extra few hours if you have a long day is a huge plus point for the Pro Max. And also, if these phones are anything like the previous gen, the battery life degradation on these phones has gotten quite significant. Like with my 15 Pro Max, literally a few months into it, I could barely get through the day in terms of battery life. I think it's at like 92% battery health now, and I'd have to basically charge it every single evening if I had to go out. But on the other side, Apple did also tout better battery life this year with both the 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max compared to the 15 Pro and Pro Max. And this is largely due to the better processor as well as more efficient software. So this does help lessen the blow a bit if you are deciding to go the Pro route. And in my experience of using the Pro for the past few weeks, I've actually had no issues getting through the entire day with the Pro. I am putting it through the ringer, but it is a new device. I guess after, a few months of usage, things might change a little bit here, but yeah, so far so good. I'd say in terms of battery life, this has been pretty much on par with the 15 Pro Max of last year. So if you're somebody who's traveling much or usually going to the office and back home, and you can always juice up here and there, or you don't mind carrying a MagSafe battery bank or portable charger, then maybe this doesn't matter as much for you. Maybe the Pro could be just fine. And last but not least, let's talk about the price. Although at first glance, things seem to be like a pretty big of a jump. If you're going from the Pro to the Pro Max, it's like 200 bucks on the website. It's important to know that Apple has done away with the 128GB model on the Pro Max, which means the entry level for the Pro Max at $1199 is for the 256GB model, versus the entry level for the 16 Pro is at $999 for the 128GB model. Now, if you were already planning to upgrade to 256GB or more, then this honestly does not make as much of a big difference for you, because the Pro Max is only $100 more than the Pro, and you're getting that more battery life, you're getting that larger screen and whatnot. But if you didn't care about storage and you just wanted the cheapest Pro phone that you could get from Apple, then the $200 difference is pretty significant and might make you reconsider. Okay, let's conclude. So all in all, which one is actually the right device for you? It's a difficult question, but hey, at least you can rest assured knowing that you have the best of the best iPhones out there. You have the camera control button, the action button, the new camera, sensor, and all of that good stuff. And the best part is you're not missing out on any features or cameras or anything like that by going with either of these two. So at the end of the day, it comes down to what you prioritize personally. If you want the best battery life and the most screen real estate and experience of your phone for content, for filming, consumption, productivity, usage, then the Pro Max is probably the way to go for you. But if the extra size and weight is going to annoy you, both while storing your phone in your pocket while also actually using it on a day-to-day basis, then going with a more compact, more manageable iPhone 16 Pro might be the better bet. Not to mention, you do save a couple $100, which could go towards some accessories or even AppleCare. Now, as for me, although there are times where I am captivated by the larger Pro Max screen and the battery life, which is also very enticing, there's just too many times where the larger size gets unwieldy, and I am very much starting to prefer the smaller sizing of the Pro. But then again, to play devil's advocate, the convenience factor of just having a larger screen phone in your pocket to get things done with everything looking so nice and big and lifelike, that's also hard to pass up. But at the end of the day, for me, it personally comes down to this. Unlike prior years, I'm not taking a big hit on the camera by going with the Pro. And also, Apple has made the screens even bigger. They've also improved the battery life in this, making the Pro honestly a fantastic package in my opinion. And after a year or two of going through trials and tribulations with my 15 Pro Max and even my test period with a 16 Pro Max and further warping my pinky, I think it's finally time for me to retire and switch down to the 16 Pro. In any case, let me know what you guys decided to go with this year. I'm curious to know. Take care, stay blessed, peace.
Always ask you to film with me and you say no. For the slap, now you're finally ready, huh? Yeah, but you're like winding up, dude.
But I
Why are you winding up?
Right?
Yeah, but I'm scared.
Man up, get out your phone. I've been fighting in the army for 50 years. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. One-handed push-up. Is it realistic? Yo, is it realistic though? Can you tell?
It looks like you've never done a pull-up before.